can tell you right now, cops do not like coincidences. And that goes double for cops who are investigating murders of runaway teenagers, especially runaway teenage girls. That fact has got to be hitting home tonight, literally, for the singer known professionally as David, spelled D4VD. I know it's strange, but it's pronounced David. His legal name is David Anthony Burke. And it is quite possible that's the name that was included in the warrant last night that was executed to search the home where he's been living. It's also the same name that's said to be on the title of the impounded Tesla, where the body of a dismembered and decomposing teenage girl was found by police in the trunk, or should I say frunk, the front trunk. That was 1 week ago Monday. If you were with us here last night, you know that that body has been identified as Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose family reported her missing in April of last year. And get this, she may not look it in this picture, but she was just 13 when she went missing. Celeste's birthday, the 15th birthday, was the day before her body was found. But since it was the stench of rotting human remains that led the impound workers to call the LAPD, it is almost certain that Celeste did not live to see 15. For David, who's now on a world tour, none of this is good news, but it's not bad for him yet, legally speaking. That said, here are some of the bizarre coincidences that you cannot ignore in this murder case. This murdered teenager and the up-and-coming singer both have the same tattoos on their right index fingers, reading, shh. To be fair, it is a popular tattoo, SHHH, far from unique. But Celeste's mother says that her daughter was dating somebody named David when she went missing. And yes, David is a common name. I get it. Then there's the photo. A photo of David, the singer, in Celeste's neighborhood, not far from her house, minutes actually walking, right before she disappeared. And should I say that Celeste's house is like over an hour away from where David was living, so not likely just to be there for no reason. And now we know that in December of 2023, a song leaked out that is highly curious in retrospect. It is a demo track by David, and it's called, say it with me now, Celeste. The name of the song is Celeste, and it's all about his love for a girl who's named Celeste. Still, there was no indication that LA police were connecting the dots until last night, when homicide detectives raided a home in the Hollywood Hills. Now, it just happens to be the very same area where the Tesla had been abandoned and then towed. Yet the neighbors say that that Tesla has been parked regularly in front of the home that was raided. And in a town full of Teslas, you're going to find out why in just a moment. Why this Tesla was so memorable to the eyewitnesses who said, oh, it is that one. That's the one right there that was parked outside the home. TMZ reports that that home was most recently occupied by David, the singer, David Anthony Burke, even though it was rented by David's manager. Police reportedly seized a computer and quote-unquote other items. And I talked about all of this and more today with TMZ executive producer Charles Ladibaudiere. And before I play you our conversation, I should note TMZ's reporting was instrumental in helping the police identify that the young victim in the trunk was Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Here's my interview. Charles, this story seems to really be getting legs. What happened today with the house where David had been staying? Tell me about that.
Yeah, this house where David had been staying at least earlier this year, probably even further back. Police had a search warrant. They got a search warrant, and they finally went through the house last night. We got some information about what they were looking for there. We know that there were photos of detectives leaving the house with a computer and then several other bags of evidence bags. We don't know exactly what they pulled out of there. We know what they were looking for, and it is very clear that they are trying to connect the victim, Celeste Rivas Hernandez, to that home and obviously to David also. We should say The home is about a block and a half away from where David's Tesla was parked when it was towed to an impound yard.
Okay, that's important. The proximity between this home that was investigated and searched and where the Tesla was found. That's key. I have seen reporting that neighbors had seen a Tesla parked outside that home.
Yeah, that very Tesla. We've spoken to several neighbors who said that the Tesla with the Texas plates, which is what makes it stand out here in LA, a black Tesla with those Texas plates. You know, it was registered to David, who is from the Houston area. So we know that that Tesla is his. The thing that's still not clear is who was actually driving the Tesla when the body was placed in the car, who parked it where it was eventually found and impounded. Those are the dots that still need to be connected here. But as for this house, it's very clear that this is where David was staying. There are lots of photos that he posted from that home. You know, he entertained people there. Benny Blanco came over and he posted some photos with him. The group Cat's Eye was there. They recorded a video with David, like a TikTok video with David in that house. So this is where he apparently was staying and clearly entertaining friends and, you know, posting content from that home. So the one thing we have not seen is a video of Celeste or photos of Celeste in that house. Now, other photos have surfaced showing, it seems pretty clear at this point that David and Celeste had a relationship. There was a live stream that was resurfaced where they were talking to some of his fans, and also a photo of David and Celeste out at an event somewhere in LA in, it appears, October 2023, because there's a photo of David and Billie Eilish at the same event from that date.
God, in October of 2023, she'd have been just turned 14?
Yes.
No, just turned 13.
13. And he would have been, so 2023, he would have been 17 or 18.
Yeah, not legal.
Yeah.
Not legal. If
that
anything,
is another part of this. If it was a romantic relationship, yes, certainly disturbing. And we haven't seen anything like sort of PDA or kissing or anything that would make you think that we could say for sure this was a romantic relationship. But what is clear is they spent a lot of time together. What the nature of the relationship is, we don't know for sure yet.
Okay, well, I'm going to skip ahead to something I was going to ask you in a minute, but I'm going to go there now. Maybe we don't have pictures or anything of them indicating anything romantic, but there's art, there are songs, and now everything's being looked at through a microscope. Tell me about a leaked song called Celeste.
Yeah, the lyrics to this song now, like you said, looking through today's lens, very interesting. This is a song, it was unreleased, but it did leak on SoundCloud in in December of 2023. Some of the lyrics, and again, the title was Celeste. It says, "Oh, Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest. Smell her on my clothes like cigarettes. I hear her voice each time I take a breath. I'm obsessed."
That's 2023.
December of 2023, right.
Like 4 months before she disappeared.
Right. And actually, I believe there was another time. It appears that I don't know if it was she had run away or just that she was not contacting her mother. And so there was, in January of 2024, a missing report. And then again, another one in April. So her home life is also something we're looking into because it's clear that this was not a stable situation, and that she was in and out of the house. We also know that, there was a photo, and we don't have a date for this one yet. There's a photo of David in a parking lot in Lake Elsinore, California, which for people outside of LA, that is a place that's about 70 miles east of LA. So it's not like right around the corner. And David was in a parking lot there in Lake Elsinore, which is where Celeste and her family live. They're from Lake Elsinore. So
yet another coincidence.
Yes. And by the way, that parking lot, we looked at it on we geotagged the photo and looked at it was about a 6-minute walk from Celeste's home where her mom lives anyway.
Then there's another singer. There's another song that I find disturbing. It's 2022, and it's called "Romantic Homicide."
It is
and
one
there's
of
some lyrics there that are disturbing.
It is actually one of his biggest hits. If you look up David's songs on a streaming platform, "Romantic Homicide" is usually near the top, if not the top song. And some of the lyrics from that song, he says, "In the back of my mind, I killed you, and I didn't even regret it. I can't believe I said it, but it's true. I hate you."
Important
again,
to say, no mention of the name Celeste here.
No
and
mention of Celeste in there.
Doing the math, correct me if I'm wrong, she'd be 12 in 2022.
Yeah, we don't know when they first, met, when their friendship or whatever it was began. But obviously, there are a lot of images now of them together. They had some sort of relationship. And now, clearly, police are trying to connect those dots as well. I got to tell you about the search at the house. We know what while we don't know what they actually left with, we know from law enforcement sources what they were looking for and what they did inside the house. They were looking for blood evidence. We're told that the detectives went through the house. There was with luminol, thinking that if whatever happened to Celeste, if she met her demise in the house, they wanted to see if there was any evidence of blood anywhere in the home. So they were using luminol around the house. They were checking drains to see if there's any blood evidence or, blood or tissue that was in the drains there. So they did a scouring of this house looking for any evidence. Again, we don't know what, if anything, they found, but our law enforcement sources say when they executed this search warrant, that was on the list, a very long list of things they were looking for in that house.
That's very painful to hear, because we know that this body was dismembered and not all parts of this body were recovered. So it would make perfect sense if they were looking to see where that dismembering happened.
Right.
And also, just remind me, this house is being rented by David's manager.
Yeah, you got to keep in mind that David is a very young, he's 20 years old. So from what we've seen as listings, this house is going, $20,000. That it can be rented for $20,000 a month. It is a large home. It's an estate, really. That's not the kind of thing even a famous 20-year-old could do on his own, typically. So it is his manager, a guy who is connected to Interscope Records.
Josh Marshall is his name, right?
Yes. So he is the person we found out who was actually on the lease, who was renting this. But again, from all the photos that David has posted, it's very clear he was staying in this home, if not all the time, frequently he was staying there.
Was the focus just on the house, or did they look elsewhere around the property?
They looked around the entire property. There's the house, there's a yard also where they could have searched for,
what about
and
a
would
garage?
have searched. Yes, there's a garage there. In fact, I want to say it's a 3-car garage that they went into. They searched there. But
I mean, my mind, being in true crime, goes to Dexter, and garages are often one of the places of choice, for this kind of macabre behavior. Yeah. And then do you have any information on purchasing? Like, was anybody within David's orb purchasing things like the kind of supplies you would need for this kind of an operation? Sometimes the Home Depot, sometimes Walmart. People go in with big cleaning supplies, drop sheets, even tools, that kind of thing. Bleach.
I know where your mind is going, Ashley, and I wish I could say we don't know at this point, but it has been very difficult, I will say, to speak to people in David's orbit, that close friends. As you would imagine, most people are pretty tight-lipped and not willing to say anything at this point because they know what's going on. They know this case has been getting a lot of attention here in LA and growing in the attention it's getting around the country. They know what police are looking for, and so they have not exactly been forthcoming with a lot of information.
Well, you
with
know
the
how
media.
that works, Charles. The minute arrests start happening, people start talking because nobody wants to be on the business end of a charge connected with, accessory, after or during, or conspiracy. I mean, these are the kinds of things that make the concentric circle squeeze to the player they're looking for. And I'm not saying it's David. I'm not saying it's his manager. It could be any of the above. You never know. It could be anybody. But just what about David himself? Like, what's going on with him? Is he in hiding? Is he under arrest? What are his management and endorsements? What's happening with him?
Boy, I wish I could tell you all. Here's what we know about David. The last place he was seen publicly for certain was in Seattle when he performed 2 nights ago. He had a show that was scheduled last night, but that one was canceled. And while we figured that he would be coming back to LA, we know that he has an attorney. We have not positively seen him yet. There was a sighting of someone that someone believed to be David, but we can't confirm 100% it was him. So we are on the lookout, trying to find out where he is, but we have not seen him yet. And interestingly, he had shows scheduled here in LA this weekend. He was supposed to be playing at the Greek Theater. And what's really creepy and eerie is that you could go online right now, as we're speaking, and buy tickets to the show in LA. And also there's a show scheduled in San Francisco Friday night that has yet to be officially canceled. So, look, that may change. This is as we're speaking right now, but I would expect it would be really bizarre to see him on stage performing as if nothing's going on when we know police have searched the home where he was living and what we know about his own car and what was found there.